case with a rescue member or like a rescue animal and they go into a critical condition, just like if you guys went to the hospital and you have to spend the night there, you never know if something happens overnight. So we have to have them here 24/7. So we're gonna go and see a whole bunch of our rescue vehicles. You guys can take pictures with them. I'll show you, you can touch some of them. You see 2 already? Which one do you see?
You can touch them?
They're both.
The rider band.
Well, that's a golf cart. Now, those aren't our rescue vehicles, but the rescue team might use that golf cart. So let's go see some of those then.
He tried.
I see one, maybe.
I never realized that you guys have to stay at SeaWorld.
I see one.
I see a
Especially, we're in Florida, right?
I see a boat.
Whenever we get a hurricane, there's team members from every single department that stay here
I see a
overnight
rescue
to help with
boat.
everything.
I see 5.
So we're gonna make sure we stay to the left. We go out to this boat named Charlotte. First, while they're backing up. Get out of their way. Do you see one already?
I see a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of boats there.
I see like
This one is Charlotte. You'll see her name on this side. It actually is named after a rescue manatee. Her name was Charlotte. This boat is specifically made to rescue manatees because they're going to be our biggest animal that we rescue here in Florida. Sarah's around 3,000 pounds out there, and manatees can get up to a little bit over 3,000, so like 3,500. And that's pretty heavy, right? They got to lift them up and put them in the boat. So that's why this back part, we literally can take right off. The rescue team can pick that manatee up and use that stretcher, it normally is blue, and then slide them into the back of the boat. But for my kiddos, how do you think this boat moves?
the propeller.
Okay, where's the propeller?
Down there.
Down there. So is it in the back or the front?
The front.
The front. Okay, go around to the front. So the reason they put the propeller in the front is because the manatees are super heavy, right? We don't want to have to pick up the manatees and pick them up and put them over the propeller to even get them into the boat. So they were very smart and they decided to put the propeller up front. So that way the boat can still move. They can get to where they need to go. So that 3,000-pound manatee sitting in the back of the boat. But it makes the rescue team members' job a little easier. We also have another boat. We'll see it in a little bit. His name is Turner. That's for our porpoises, so for our dolphins or our pilot whales that we rescue here at SeaWorld. Same concept. The motor's going to be in the front. They're going to have a back section, but they're going to have a net in the back because they swim much faster than manatees do. So we do have to have a bigger area with nets and stuff like that.
We need to be in front.
Okay, well, read what it says.
Marine Mammal Transport Unit.
So he was asking what it is. It's a marine mammal transport unit. So you know that Nunavik, the Nuvalucco whale that we got from the Georgia Aquarium? All of our animals are trained to swim and slide into a stretcher. We can use a giant crane, like the cranes behind me, to lift them up, put them into this transport unit. This is a retired one though, because normally, like I can see, you can stick your head in there. You wouldn't be able to do that. This ball will go all the way up to the top. We will fill it halfway or 2/3 up with water. They will be suspended in that stretcher in that water, so we can either drive them or fly them to their next location. But for my friends out here, what kind of water do you think we put in?
Depends on your animal.
That's a good guess. You said fresh. What'd you say? Salt. So most of the time we transport salty animals, right, in salt water. But what is this made out of? You guys can come and touch it.
Metal.
Metal. What does salt water do to metal?
Corrosive.
Rust, so we cannot transport them in salt water. So you got it right. I'm very shocked. Nobody has ever guessed that right before. So all the time, whenever we transport them, even if they live in salt water, we transport them in fresh water. So that way we don't accidentally rust the transport unit. And because for the airplanes, we cannot bring salt water on an airplane because that could rust the airplane as well. And the pilots, when they're flying our animals, actually have to sign a waiver to make sure they're not flying above a certain altitude, because that's not good for our marine animals, right? Because they generally live in the ocean and swim down deep depths and stuff like that. They're not used to being flying animals above the air. So we want to make sure they are 100% safe. So whenever we transport an animal, we plan everything down to the science. So we know how long it takes to get them in the stretcher, how long it takes to get them into the transport unit, how long the transport unit takes to get into the vehicle that they're either driving, and then either drive that to an airport or to drive them to their next location. They want to minimize the amount of time that it takes them to get from A to B. So that's why we have this one here, but this is a retired one. We're going to go see Turner, the next boat.
I see a Dodge Dually.
That's probably, I think I don't know why we have a dog. So this is Turner, but this one, like I said, this is for our dolphins. So our porpoises, our pilot whales, because we have rescued a couple pilot whales before. So there's a net. Yeah, so that's our ambulance. We'll go around and see that one in a second. But this has a big net on the back, so it's generally dolphins swim faster than manatees. Sometimes when our rescue team has to go out and help rescue the animal, they disappear on us. But that's because they can hold their breath for roughly 15 to 20 minutes at any given time. So if a manatee decides to go down and sleep, then it goes down and sleep. And then we have to find it when it comes back up. So that's why they have the net on the back to help them, especially with the dolphins, since they swim much faster. But we'll go see the ambulance, because I know you were pointing that out. But, so we'll come follow me. Yeah, I don't 100% know what kind of bird that is. It used to be called the Chamois Express. I think it's still called that.
It's an international.
Yeah. I've never heard of that bird. I think it's specific for our animals.
It's a semi.
So if you want to, you can step up in there. Just make sure you don't trip on the cords on either side. But you can see inside of this ambulance here. So they were cleaning it and organizing it today. So that's why they have a lot of their things all moving about in the back there. But it's just like your human animal. So whenever you rescue an animal, they might need to work on them right away, just like your human ambulance. So they're always going to have either a rescue team member back there or a vet team member back there to help them out. So they're going to be on those foam paddings, and they will start working on them right away if they need to. But what type of animals do we mostly rescue, guys? Do they fly? Do they swim? Do they walk on land like a giraffe?
Birds.
We do get a lot of birds.
Manatees.
Manatees. Do they swim a lot? They swim, right? So,
Dolphins?
yes, and we want to make sure their skin doesn't dry out. That's not good for them. So if you see these little squirt bottles, they use that to spray them or hose them down just to make sure that they don't dry out. We don't want their skin to get messed up or anything like that.
She's rolling the track.
Luckily, that's not actually, like, you're not moving the whole boat, so that's okay. But that's why it's on there. Sometimes we come back here and we don't even see any of, like, the rescue vehicles because either they're actually actively using them or they're doing maintenance on them or cleaning them or something like that. So it's fun to actually see. You literally saw all of our rescue vehicles and stuff back here. It's really fun. The only boat that's not back here is specifically for sea turtles, but that's because it has a motor on the back, so then they can drive that out to the ocean farther when they're returning those sea turtles. Makes it easier for them, basically. So we are going to go up this way to the left, so make sure you follow me, so that way we can find our... Come on, Kaden! Either an ACA accredited zoo or aquarium to help take care of that turtle for the rest of its life. When we walk by that, you can come up to this blue gate if you want to go see him better. He tries his hardest to swim at the bottom, but it doesn't work with that extra pocket of gas under his shell. So that's why he's here with us. We don't want him to get hit by another boat again. But when we go up there to see the manatees, there's going to be a yellow upside down, and he does his flips all the time. Yep, that's his name. He's 39 years old. But he knows where everything is, so that way he doesn't run into anything. But whenever they need to refill that, they can come here and do it, which is pretty amazing. So all of the guys that take care of all of our animals here at SeaWorld, but also all the ones at Discovery Cove, that take care of all those dolphins and all those animals, and even our dolphins at Aquatica as we come over here to get their prescriptions filled out for them. So we're going to go see the vet lane. This is where they do some of their procedures on our animals. So we will go over here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We have over 100 sandhill cranes and none of them are that big. Why?
Those are 2 rescued sandhill cranes, and they were deemed non-releasable. So we're going to care for them for the rest of their lives. I don't know how old they are because I don't know when we got them, but I'm not 100% sure why they're bigger, but it might be just because they can't fly. But we always monitor the amount of food that we're giving to all of our animals because we don't want anyone to get overweight or anything like that.
It doesn't look overweight. He just looks way bigger.
Ah, way bigger, I see. Oh, we got lucky today. There's something actually on the table over here. So with our vet techs and our vets, they do have a schedule of which animals they need to do procedures on or check up on every single day. But obviously that might change if we get in a new rescue animal or if somebody calls them to check out an animal in our park here at SeaWorld, Discovery Cove, or Aquatica.
That looks like a squirrel.
So we do help with other rescued animals, not just marine mammals. We will get gopher tortoises. Sometimes people literally come up to our gates and bring us birds, gopher tortoises, other turtles. We've gotten raccoons before, but we don't specialize really in raccoons, so we're going to find another facility or a place to help take care of them. We have armadillos in Discovery Cove, so if we get an armadillo, we've taken care of them. We can try to help them out. So it just depends on the animal, what they're going to do for it, and how they're going to care for it. But all of this equipment, is that easy to move?
No.
Are you sure? Look at the bottom. Is it on
Yes.
wheels? There you go. It's on wheels, so it's easy to move. So for all of our bigger animals, because the biggest animal that we can fit through those double doors is going to be a manatee. We cannot fit our orcas or really our beluga whales in here. So all of those guys have medical wings or pools at the side of their exhibit. So we can do their ultrasounds. We can get their blood sample from. We can do any of the medical procedures that they need to do at their exhibit themselves. That way they don't even have to worry about trying to bring them in here and having them fit. Obviously that table is way too tiny for a walrus. But we do have a bigger table that they will use for those manatees when they can bring them inside. So that mat is actually where some of our animals go on for transporting. So they use that for our manatees, for our dolphins, our seals. Sometimes they'll bring seals over here to do procedures on them. If you see our penguins, one of the most common procedures that they actually do is cataract surgery on our penguins because our animals generally double or triple their lifespan here with us because they get the best quality food, right? We test our fish for mercury. They have free health care with our amazing vets and vet techs, and they don't have any predators here, right? So our penguins that generally live 15 to 20 years in the wild, we've got one that's 28. Some in Antarctica are 36.
Kaden, get off of that.
Hi, we
It's
actually have
full
one of our
of
vet techs
Hello.
say hello to you guys. This doesn't always happen.
I'm Heidi, one of the vet techs. I thought I'd just let you know what I was just carrying inside because I know it's real itty bitty. So about an hour ago, we had Discovery Cove team members find a little injured flying squirrel. So we just did a brief exam on him. They stress out really easily, so we didn't want hands-on too long, but he seemed really dehydrated, so we went ahead and gave him some supplemental hydration by fluids under the skin. So if you've ever had a geriatric dog or cat, you've most likely seen a big camel hump on their back at some point with fluids. Same kind of concept for this guy. So he's in our incubator, he's getting some heat support, it's kind of cold outside. So we are gonna let him kind of settle in for the night and hopefully release him tomorrow. We didn't see anything major wrong with him.
Did you say flying squirrel?
A little flying squirrel, yeah.
Are they native to Florida?
They are. So they have just the skin flap under them, just like you can imagine, and they don't really fly like a bird, but they can actually leap pretty far distances. They glide, exactly. Exactly. Do you guys have any questions about any of the animals we see, or how we care for them, or where we get blood on anybody? Yeah?
Always happening. So when we have them,
I just never knew there was flying squirrels in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, they're so tiny you don't see them as often as your typical squirrel, so.
What animals do you rarely take care of?
Very rarely take care of. Hello.
Okay.
We don't see flying squirrels a lot, but we do see them on occasion. Hi.
Actually, I met.
Oh,
No.
you don't want to go in that thing. That's a little scary.
He likes them.
We had an eel in for anesthesia yesterday. So we were, not an electric eel, but a moray eel, the big, really big green ones. We have some in our shark exhibit. We were actually anesthetizing him to help do a blood transfusion on an eel at another facility that didn't have another one that they could give blood to. So we used one of our eels to help do that blood transfusion, and in the meantime we did a full exam on him. We scoped him to look for anything internally that could be going on. We got a blood sample, just did a full health exam because we don't do that often on those guys. So it was pretty cool. It was kind of a chance to help another facility, but also to double check our animal as well. So we don't see those guys a lot.
Also, what time do you guys get here to work on the animals?
That question has already been answered.
Yeah.
24 hours a day. There is always somebody here to care for the animals.
What time do they get here?
Depends on what shift they're on. They have rotating shifts.
Yeah. So my typical shift would be from 6 in the morning to about 4:30.
We got up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, it's pretty early. Yeah. Any other questions?
Not from us anyway.
We have someone going for vet school, so I
Oh,
figured she
nice.
might have vet assisting.
Yeah. Well, I'm just a technician.